Hello, welcome back to Bald and Board Games. I'm Bald. Boards in Japan. Still, I'm doing all these rulebook rundowns for Mythwind this weekend myself, as this is probably more of a game that I'll be playing with Bombastic. But so far, we did a rulebook rundown for the main rulebook, which is the Town Charter for Mythwind. So you can find that video. We've done the Farmer as well, and now we are diving into the Crafter. All right, so we're gonna jump right in here. There's gonna be some elements that probably get mentioned that I will reference. You'll have to go and watch the town charter uh, run through to really get the full know-how on that info, but I'll make sure that you know what that is. So we have the crafter here. So everything has been, for the most part, set up. We have an unboxing video as well, where we went through the setup as we punch stuff out and put them into their trays to organize them. Here, we have a nice reference card, which I'm sure will make more sense as we get going. Okay, so the Crafter's Journal. Day 2. The workshop is going to take some organizing. Everyone is so industrious here, and the requests are coming in faster than I can fulfill them. I barely have time to think about how to put an artistic flourish on the works I make. My old journeyman, Wilbur, would not believe the skills of the sprites here. Some work with rock, others with wood. I've seen a mushroom-capped fellow build a hut out of the mud in a few hours. I've got a lot to learn. I can't wait. Let's do an audio check as well, and we're good. All right, cool. So, the crafter's goal is to make things, bringing their artisanship and skill to the soon-to-be burgeoning town. The crafter bolsters their reputation by creating and perfecting the goods they make and selling them to the townsfolk for profit. The quality of the crafter's goods and the speed of their production will grow alongside the town. That's okay. So the complexity for the farmer was a 1. The complexity for the crafter is a 3. There is a complexity of 2 character, but they are from the expansion, Expanded Horizons, and that's the Innkeeper, which we'll get to as well once we get through all the base individuals. So here are the key concepts for the crafter. Materials and goods. The crafter gathers materials and refines them in their workshop. They can sell refined materials for coins and additional actions, or they can use those materials to craft goods. Okay? Customer requests. The townsfolk submit requests for the crafter to produce various goods, but fulfilling these requests, the crafter gains rewards, including additional actions. Reputation. As the crafter fulfills requests, the specific goods those goods gain, well, as a crafter fulfills requests for specific goods, those goods gain a reputation of quality among the townsfolk. As the reputation of goods increases, the crafter can charge a higher premium for those goods when fulfilling requests. Then we have Board's favorite page, all the components and everything. To set up the first game for the crafter, perform the steps presented in this section. So I will go over this even though I've already done it. To set up subsequent games, you will see the saving and continuing, which I'll go over at the end as well. So step 1, assemble the crafter tray. Insert the 3 crafter boards and the crafter header into the crafter tray. So we have bump, bump, bump. We have 1, 2, 3, and you. Set the reputation dials. So place 5 reputation dials under the reputation track so the 1 coin value indicated by the yellow arrow is visible in each of the right side windows of the reputation board. This I did not do, so we'll do that now. So down here, we have all the reputation trackers. So here, let's turn this one to 1, and you. You're already there. And you. Perfect. And then you will go right back down on top. There we go. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. All right. Cool. Gather skills, miniature, and coins. So take the crafter miniature. Got her right here. Nice sun-dropped mini. 10 coins. So under here we have all these supplies. So we have our 2 5 pieces. And the 10 crafter skills, and place them near the crafter tray. So the skills are right here. Take those out. Okay, and place them near the crafter tray, face down, so all of their levels are visible. So just like the farmer, seems like she has levels to hers. So I'll take a second here and I'll organize these. So 1, 1. Oop, that one's upside down. Go. Good. 2, 2. 2. So it's like 4 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, just like before with the farmer. Okay, on screen. Good. All right. Prepare the workshop. Take take 2 random materials from the supply and place them in refinement slot 1 in the workshop. Okay, and then prepare materials. Place 1 of each of the 5 types of materials into the draw bag. Place the remaining materials in the supply within reach of the crafter. So take all of these out here. So we have, I don't know what these materials are. So we have 1 here. We're going to need 1 for the bag. What I'll probably do to save space is I'll probably just keep these under her card instead of putting them on the table. There's plenty of room on the table, but just easier that way. I'm taking out 1 of each right now because we're gonna randomly drop 1 that will be put into the, what does it say, the refinement slot 1. Okay, so I'm gonna take these. Do a good shuffle here, and let's see, here's number 1, and number 2 is whatever this one is. Huh, funny. First 2 I grabbed anyway. Okay. So it says to put these into refinement slot 1. Okay, cool. And then these. So then place 1 of each of the 5 material types, 1, 2, 4, 5, into the draw bag. So she has a draw bag. Place remaining materials where the crafter can get to them. So draw bag. Good. Okay. Then her. So separate the request cards. So separate the request cards into 5 stacks according to the sprite number on the back of the card. So we have request cards here. There's a sprite. Oh, there's a sprite number. Okay. So this has no number listed. And those are 2s. 4. 6. And 8. Move this up a little bit so you can see. 6 and 8. There we go. Okay. All right. So there are 4 different sprite numbers and 1 stack without a sprite number. Cool. So then we're going to create the request deck. So create the request deck by shuffling together all request cards without a sprite icon. This one. Okay. Place the other 4 stacks of request cards to the side. They are not needed until the end of the first season. Oh, okay, cool. So what I'll actually do then, because we don't need these till the end of the first season, is I'll take those and I'll put these right back there. Let's take out her coin because we will sure need that at some point. And then we can put this right back on top of it. Okay, so quest deck has been started. Boom. Draw the starting request. Draw the top card of the request deck and place it face up near the crafter. Okay, cool. All right, so basic concepts. This material contains the basic concepts for the crafter. Materials. The crafter uses materials, so these, and we'll put into the bag here, to create goods such as bags, boots, and tools. There are 5 types of materials that are each represented by tokens. There's canvas, leather. Let me point to these while I'm doing this for you. So we have canvas, leather, cedar, birch, and paper. Throughout the game, the crafter gathers materials and refines them in the workshop, then sells them for profit or uses them to create goods to fulfill customer requests. The workshop. The crafter's workshop is where they refine their materials and use them to create goods. The workshop contains 5 numbered refinement slots that represent the different workshop stations where materials are refined. The workshop also has an inventory slot where the crafter stores all of their gathered materials that are awaiting the refinement process. Each of the refinement slots can contain a maximum of 5 materials at once. Okay, so you can only ever have 5 in each of these slots. Throughout the game, the crafter can spend materials of specific refinement levels to craft goods, and materials refinement levels equal to the refinement slot it occupies. So slot 1, refinement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The crafter specializes in creating 5 types of goods: backpacks, boots, scrolls, hammers, and curios. So we have hammers, scrolls, backpacks, boots, and curios. The crafter's reputation track displays their reputation level for each of those goods. That's what this is here. So this is reputation level is on the left side. The reward is on the right side. As the crafter fulfills more of the town's requests for goods, that good's reputation level increases along with its reputation premium, which allows the crafter to earn more coins when fulfilling requests for the goods in the future. Fulfilling requests is described on page 18, so we'll get to that. So the more of these that you complete, the higher the corresponding thing will go. So the day phase summary. Each game in Mythwind is a day that consists of 3 phases: dawn, daytime, and dusk. To resolve each phase, characters perform a number of steps. The primary steps of each phase are resolved by all characters as a group, and the rules for these steps are described in detail throughout the town charter, which we went through beforehand in our other rulebook rundown video, so you can go and find that one. In addition to a day's phase's primary steps, each character has their own unique steps to resolve. These steps are spread throughout the 3-day phases and are different for each character. The rules that govern the crafter's unique steps are detailed on the next page. And then it goes over simultaneous play. So everyone plays at the same time for each phase. And then once everyone's done with their portion of the phase, you move on to the next phase. So everyone does all their dawn actions before they move on to daytime, before they move on to dusk. So then below is a summary for the 3-day phases for the crafter. Each step that is governed by rules presented in the town charter, followed by the town charter icon, which is the little blue icon with a book on it. All other steps are unique to the crafter and governed by the rules presented in this character journal. So for dawn, phase 1, you determine the weather, you check the season effect, and resolve the weather effect. So dawn is entirely town charter. Nothing is done individually by the crafter during the dawn phase. Phase 2, the daytime. Perform your town action, which should have a charter book next to it because everyone does their town actions at the same time. So a little typo there. Perform your character action. So here, you're going to be performing your character action and then performing your worker action. So when performing a character action, you can restock or sell. You can resolve skills. You can gather materials. You can refine materials. And then you have worker actions. In Dusk, you have your return character and return workers. Both are town charter actions. Everyone does them. And then you can fulfill requests. Dawn. There's no unique steps for the crafter to perform during this phase. Daytime. During the daytime, the crafter performs the character action, which includes restock or sell, resolve skill, gather materials, and refine material actions, followed by any number of available worker actions. The crafter's unique character and worker action are described in this section. Performing character actions. Restock or sell materials. This character action allows the crafter to either restock a material by adding it to the draw bag or sell a refined material directly from their workshop to gain coins and perform a workshop action. The crafter begins by selecting one of the 5 materials displayed on their character tray. Okay. Each of these materials is aligned with sprites, villagers, or both. Okay. As shown by the worker icon and the color scheme. Blue for sprites, orange for villagers on the character tray. So that's over here. Okay. For example, the top 2 materials on the character tray are sprite aligned because they appear on the blue background near the sprite icons. Boom, boom. So the birch and the paper. The alignment of those chosen materials match the alignment of the crafter's town action. So when you do your town action, whatever you choose, the action itself will determine your alignment. Sometimes you'll choose your alignment, either sprite or villager, and that determines what you can choose to do here. One of these 2, always this middle one. If currently aligned with the sprites, crafter can use the top 2, and the middle one aligned with the villager can use the bottom 2 and the middle one. The crafter now chooses to either restock or sell the selected material. So restock or sell. For restocking, to restock, the crafter takes 1 material from the supply of that type, the type they selected on their character tray, and places it in the draw bag. Okay, so to restock, the crafter takes 1 material from the supply of the type they selected on their character tray and places it into the draw bag. If no more of the selected materials are in the supply, the crafter cannot restock the material. Okay, so supply is this here. So if I chose to do paper, I would take one of these papers and put it into the draw bag. Easy peasy. Sell. To sell, the crafter takes 1 material from the refinement slot of their choice and places it in the supply. So one of these here. The material taken must be the same type as selected on the character tray. So if I wanted to take one of these, the purple or the blue, I would have had to have been aligned with a villager, so I could choose one of these 2 options here to be able to sell one of those 2. Then the crafter gains a number of coins and performs the workshop action shown next to that refinement slot. The workshop actions are described on page 22. So here, the action looks like it's the request action, I assume, at the top, but there's no coins. For here, it's that with a coin, that with a coin. That's clearly the sell again with a coin, whatever that is, with 3 coins. Plus 2 coins. Okay. Resolve skill. The crafter may resolve a skill that is in the same row as a material they selected on their character tray. So if I had one of these unlocked, and it was here, so again we did the paper. So after doing this, I could choose to do that as well. Resolving a skill is optional. Gather materials. The crafter draws 3 materials at random from the draw bag and places them in the inventory in their workshop. There is no limit to the amount of materials allowed in the inventory slots. We take 3 out and add them to the inventory. So we got birch, more leather, and we got some paper. Okay. Refine materials. During this step, the crafter refines materials in the workshop. To resolve this step, the crafter chooses a material in their inventory slot. Boom. Then they can choose that material to begin or advance as described below. The crafter may resolve a begin or advance step for each material in their inventory slot. Okay. So begin. If the crafter chooses to begin, they simply take the chosen material from the workshop inventory slot and move it to refinement slot 1. The maximum number of materials allowed in a refinement slot is 5. So if I chose to begin refining paper, I could put you right in there. Advance. If the crafter chooses to advance, they remove the chosen material from the workshop's inventory slot. placing it in the draw bag. Then they choose one material from any of the workshop's refinement slots that matches the type they removed and move it to the next highest refinement slot. Okay, so for instance here, we have a leather, so refinement. I'm going to remove this leather, put it back in the draw bag, which allows me to grab leather here in refinement slot 1 and move it down to refinement slot 2. Cool. It has to come from the inventory to be able to do that. You can't refine from somewhere else. Like you can't take, if I had leather here, I couldn't take leather from here to get rid of it to move a different one forward, it seems like. It has to come from the inventory. Okay. Then after all that, you can perform worker actions. So the crafter has several worker actions. And actually, so just to recap real quick, because that listed a lot, but it didn't seem like it. So restock or sell. So restock or sell. Okay. Restocking means you're taking a material from the supply and putting it in the draw bag. If you sell, you're selling one of these that's in a refinement slot. Doing so, you will get the coin and whatever the effect is that's associated. Easy enough. You can then resolve a skill associated that's next to it. Then you would gather materials. So you can take 3 from the bag, put them in your inventory, and then you can refine the materials. You do this for each material in your inventory. So you can begin for each of them. So take this and you can move it in. So I'm going to do that with the birch as well. And you can advance. So I had a leather. So I got rid of a leather by putting it back into the bag. And then that allowed me to advance the leather forward by 1 spot. Show them to your workshop slot, placing it in the draw bag. Yep, cool. All right. And then after you do those, so those are your character actions, you now have worker actions you can perform. So the crafter has 7 worker actions on their character tray that require a worker to resolve. 3 of the actions are sprite actions that require a sprite die. 3 of the actions are villager actions that require a villager die. And 1 of them requires any type of die. So the way that you get dice would be hiring from the town that we have down here. So we'll say we hired both of these. So we have a sprite and we have a villager that we can use for our worker actions because we hired them. So during this step, you can use any number of their hired workers in their dice well here to perform these worker actions. To use a hired worker, the crafter takes a die from their dice well, decreases it by 1, and places it into a slot of the worker action they wish to perform. Only sprites can be placed in the sprite slots, the blue, and only work villagers in the villager slots, the orange. So we do that. So we do a sprite. So we drop this down to a 2. We can place you right there, which I can then choose, okay, I'm going to restock. So I'm going to grab a birch, place this in the draw bag. Boom. I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to knock this villager down to a 1. I'm going to put that down here for the curio. So I'm going to restock the curio. Take you. I'll put you in the bag. After placing a die into a worker action slot, the crafter resolves that action. The worker actions available are restock, gather, and refine. The worker actions available are restock, gather, and refine. So restock and sell function identically as they are described on page 14. The gather and refine actions are altered slightly and described on page 22. Oh, interesting. Okay. So it looks like there's some additional things you can do with that as well. So the gather and refine actions. Cool. So I have those there for now. Let's say I did not do the restock for birch. We'll see what happens. I did want to do the restock for the curio because I'm going to need one in the inventory to be able to advance this for that there. Okay. So that's going to be covered in a moment. So first we're going to go on to phase 3, which is dusk. So the crafter's unique step for dusk is described in this section. So fulfill requests. During this step, the crafter can resolve 1 of their request cards, which represents the customer's order for 1 of the crafter's goods. Each request card shows the materials required to craft the good. Each material is presented along with a number which indicates the minimum refinement level for that material. To resolve a request card, the crafter spends one material of the appropriate refinement level or higher from their workshop for each requirement on the request card. Each spent material is placed in the supply, not into the draw bag. So let's set this up then. Go. Okay. So each material, so we have to spend them. Okay, so here on my request, I need 2 perches at level 2 or higher. So I have 1 here to 3 and 1 here to 2. And I need one level 1 refined curio. And so then these will go back into their supplies. It's probably not going to want to keep them in there. It'll be a pain trying to lift that up, put it back down all the time. So then the crafter gains the request card reward, which includes coins and actions. If there's a reputation benefit as part of the request card's reward, the crafter gains additional coins equal to that good's reputation premium. So let's see. So if the crafter needs boots, the crafter gains 1 coin plus 1 additional coin for the premium on the boots. And the crafter can perform the draw request card action. So here we would gain 2 coins plus whatever we are over here. So 1 additional coin, because that's where we're at right now. And then whatever the bag means, which we'll learn about shortly. After gaining the request card's reward, the crafter places the fulfilled request card in their play area, where it is used to increase their reputation when resolving increased reputation costs, which become later on. So we will hold on to this. End of season summary. Okay. So the end of a season, when the end of the season arrives, each character has their own upkeep steps to resolve. Characters can resolve their character upkeep steps simultaneously. Below is a summary of the end of season upkeep steps for the crafter. So everyone does this. So here is the list. So everybody does the end of season actions, the goal cards, the reset weather deck, the change season tile. That all happens on the main board. So here, resolve character upkeep and then change characters. So the crafter resolves their upkeep before deciding if they wish to change characters as described in the town charter. So for the crafter's character upkeep, to resolve the character upkeep, the crafter must recreate their request deck and draw new cards by performing the following steps. Separate request cards. So you're going to separate all request cards into separate piles according to the sprite number on the back of the cards. This includes any unfulfilled request cards in the crafter's play area. So again, this is at the end of a season. Okay, so you would take your request cards here that weren't used previously, and you would sort them out again by their individual sprite numbers. Okay. Count in play sprites. So count the number of sprite dice that are in play. This includes any sprite dice on the town board and in character trays. So right now we have 1 at the moment. Gather request cards. So gather all request card piles with a sprite number equal to or lower than the number of sprite dice in play. Set aside all of their sprite cards in season. So if we had 2 sprite dice in play, we would gather all the 2s. Then you will... Cool, okay. Then you would shuffle the gathered request cards and draw a number equal to the number of villager dice in play, including any villager dice on the town board or in character trays. So here, we would shuffle all of these together. So the 0s and the 2s. And then we have 1 villager in play right now. 1 villager die, so we would draw 1. If we had 2, we would draw 2 to work on. All drawn cards are placed in the crafter's play area where they await fulfillment. Okay? Okay. So now, that is the character upkeep. That's where it would end. So everything here, interesting, because those don't, like, how would those even stay? Can it fit 5 in there and put the lid on? Or, let's find out. Yeah, there's no way. There's literally no freaking way that those would stay in there for saving the game. Yeah, we're not at saving the game yet. We'll see what they say for how you would save the game. I'm thinking ahead. We do this a lot in our rulebook rundowns where we tend to see something like, well, wait, what about this? How's that work? No, this is not. All right, but that's character upkeep so far. What you would do at the end of a season is you go through and essentially make the request deck potentially a little bit harder, so it increases the challenge for the crafter as you go season to season. So for the workshop actions, though, so we're coming back over to these actions here to go more in depth on what they mean for like when you sell. So each of the 5 workshop actions is displayed next to one of the refinement slots in the crafter's workshop. After the crafter sells material from the refinement slot, they may also resolve a workshop action. So that's all these. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so the top one here is draw a request card. To resolve this action, the crafter draws a request card from the request deck and places it in their play area. If there are no cards remaining in the request deck, the crafter ignores this action. Make sense? Refine, which is the blue symbol there. All right. So, oh, that's why you were saying that. Cool. Okay. That makes sense. So, for the worker actions, it was saying there's 7 because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 here. So these are the refine, and this is the what are we not restock? Right. Gather. So refine, gather. Got it. So if you put this here, you'd be gathering. Okay, I'm catching up here. All right, so to resolve this action when you sell, which is the refine, which is the same as this one, the crafter moves any one material from a slot, so refinement or inventory, in their workshop to the next highest refinement slot. The character does not have to remove a material to do this like you typically would. A material in refinement slot 5 cannot be advanced any further. If there are no materials in the workshop to advance, the crafter ignores this action. Got it. Okay. So, usually, when you are doing your refine material step, so first you gather, so you draw your 3, put them here, right? That's during your character action. For refining, you can choose to begin, so you move it just from here to slot 1. But if you want to advance one, you'd have to discard a matching one from your inventory to advance one forward. But if you do the sell action and subsequently get to do this refine action as a benefit, or if you were placing a die like a sprite in here, when you refine, you simply just move one of these forward, either from the inventory over or from a different refinement slot over. Cool. Gather. To resolve this action, which is here, the crafter draws 1 random material from the draw bag and places it in the inventory slot in the workshop. Okay. So gather, take 1, and boom, in there. So it's kind of beneficial to potentially gather first if you're then going to be doing the refinement, just in case you gather one that you could. Yeah. Sell. To resolve this action, the crafter takes any one of the materials from the refinement slot of their choice in the workshop and places it in the supply, and the crafter gains a number of coins and performs a workshop action as shown next to that refinement slot. So you could sell something here, which gets you the 2 coins, and gets you the sell action again, and then subsequently sell something from a refinement slot, which gets you the 1 coin and also pushes that up. So there's some comboing that can happen here, which is really nice. Increase reputation. So this section here. To resolve this action, the crafter can discard 1 or more fulfilled request cards to increase the reputation for a specific good by 1 level and immediately gain coins equal to the new reputation. Gold coin with a star icon. Cool. So to increase a good's reputation, the crafter must discard a number of fulfilled request cards for that good equal to that good's current reputation level. For example, if the crafter's reputation level for the curios is 2, the crafter must discard 2 fulfilled request cards for the curios to increase it to reputation level 3. All discarded request cards are shuffled back into the request deck. Awesome. When a good's reputation is increased, rotate the dial for that good counterclockwise. The reputation dial is double-sided and can be flipped from the first side when increasing a good reputation beyond the reputation of level 3. Cool. All right, so right now we have this guy. Reputation at level 1, which is I can discard this by putting it back into the reputation deck. And then what that does, which way is the best way to do this off? There we go. What that does is it allows me to take this and increase it to level 2. And it says counterclockwise. Boom, which is that way. So now you are going to give me 2 coins, but you're still a level 1. So next time I can discard 1 again to go counterclockwise 1 more time. Boom, I'm going to get 2 coins, but now I have to discard 2. And I can do that again. So I get 2, boom, boom, which turns it around. Now I'm at 3 for the 2. And I can do it again for 2, which would be 3, 3. And this is where it's saying if you're going to increase it beyond this, you would flip it over. And it tells you to start there, where you get 4. And it keeps going, it looks like all the way up to where you can get a max of 10 coin. That's cool. That's a fun little mechanic. I'm curious how long it took him to figure that out. Nice. Ooh, and then we got our skills here. Boom, 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 like we have right here. Okay, so as described in the town charter, characters can gain skills by using the longhouse or resolving game effects that have a skill icon. When a character gains a skill, they must pay its cost. For the crafter, the cost for a skill is a combination of materials with a refinement level equal to or exceeding the number depicted. Any materials used to pay for a skill are placed in the supply, not in the draw bag. So refined materials, the number depicted. So for instance, this working fast, I would need a curio at level 3, leather at level 2, paper level 1, birch level 1 to be able to get working fast. And that would go into the supply, not into the draw bag. When a character gains skill, pay its cost. Boom, good. There are 3 skill levels for level 2s and 3. Can only be gained if either of the 2 sprites are depicted on the skill cards are in play. Sprites come into play through event cards. So on these ones here, you see there's 2 pictures of little sprite guys. If either one of those are in play, that is the only time where I can upgrade to this skill. If neither of those 2 are in play, I cannot learn this skill. Essentially, the sprite is teaching you this skill. Here, worker encouragement. After the crafter pays the cost of the skill, they flip it to the ability side and place it in any of the skill slots of their character tray. When a character gains a skill, they can arrange all their gained skills amongst however they choose. The crafter may be able to resolve one of their gained skills during the resolve skill action described on page 15. What? Crafter may be able to resolve one of their gained skills during the resolve skill action. Oh, yeah, it's just saying that's when you can use those. Is when you do your action, you can then use whatever it is there. Then has a skill index, which we're not going to go over. This here, is the same as the refinement. You can refer to the index in the back of the book here to learn what each of them means if you need to. All right, so saving the game. So, they thought of it. Good. So here's how we save the crafter. So return the crafter miniature and draw bag and materials to the game box, right? So let's get all whatever's in this draw bag out. Boom. So draw bag, mini. Okay. And we will turn the supply. Oh, nope. It said with materials inside. Ooh. So the materials stay inside the draw bag. Very interesting. I wonder if I can do instead. Yeah, I'll probably do that. So what I would probably do is take the materials out actually and place them down here. That way the draw bag fits better into the box. Okay. I'll remove the crafter header from the tray. Boom. Place other crafters' coins and extra materials into the tray. So extra materials, get the coins into the tray. Boom. Cool. Place all request cards into a single stack in the following order from bottom to top. So A, set aside request cards, which are face down. Okay. B, unfulfilled request cards, face up. Oh, unfulfilled. Okay. The request deck for the upcoming season, face down. And on top of that, the fulfilled request cards, face up. Then place it in here. So essentially the ones you've completed are face up on top. The deck that is to be done are face down. Your current request cards right now that have not been completed but are revealed go face up, and then the deck is just face down and stay separated. And all those go right there. Remove the left crater from the board and place the unused skills in the tray. So all of these unused skills go into the tray. Okay. Again, I also placed the materials that were in the drawbag here because they have an extra spot. Remove the middle crafter board and place the materials lying down in their respective refinement slots. Place the middle crafter board on top of the materials in the refinement slots. Okay, cool. This is what I was wondering. How do you keep that flat? So they thought of this. So here, you literally just lay it down. And it'll fit 5 of them in there. And then you can just go flat. Assume. Or can you go sideways also? Oh yeah. So you can go sideways too. Then that. Or go back down like this. Finally, place the lid in the character tray to preserve all the saved contents in play. So then this will go here. The dice well, it goes over in the town charter book. Essentially what happens is if you have any dice left that have 1 or more pips, they just go back to your dice well. If this was reduced down to 1 like that, then you would re-roll this and there we go. And it'd end up back in town. Okay, so leave that in town, sure. And then you just put your top back on. And she's ready to go again. All right, so then if you're going to continue the game, so what you would do is you would gather the miniature, obviously, and the drawbag from the game box. Coins, skills, request cards from the storage tray, so everything in there. Remove the extra materials from the tray, set them aside, right? Separate the stacks of request cards. So as follows, so you're going to separate them. So set aside those cards that aren't being used yet. Your current request that's that you're trying to fulfill, the deck that you haven't flipped over yet, and the ones that you've already completed. And then you'll be off and ready to go again. And then just like the other books too, so they all have this nice reference in the back here with the icon specific to the character, the dawn, daytime, and dusk phase. So good. So you see here, perform town actions has the book here, like it doesn't in the actual manual, which is fine. Reference here tells you, when you see that book, that it's a town charter rule that affects the entire town. But that is the crafter. We also have like a nice handy reference card as well, which goes over those character actions, so you don't have to dig into the book constantly. Like you can literally go over it all here. So draw, refine, gather, sell, increase reputation. And then here are the character actions as well. And the end of season just says, hey, request, recreate the request deck. See page 21, it'll tell you how to do that. All right, I'm actually going to put this in here as well. Keep that little reference card handy with her. But very cool. That is the crafter. There we are, back out front. Fun. So very different than the farmer. It's just, it's so fun how different all of these characters are. The farmer, very much a polyomino kind of puzzle. She is very much like, okay, I need to get materials, push them forward. Probably at some point, what request do I complete first? Do I go for first? And you're just trying to really just kind of complete those requests and keep pushing that reputation up to gather money to be able to do this, to do that. And it's like, okay, do I sell this so I can get this extra action? So this one I could see there being some comboing coming in. Funny enough, Ford said this probably isn't a game that he would enjoy playing because it's not competitive. He says he has a vendetta against cooperative games. But I think once I sat him down to play this, he would have a lot of fun. That's usually what happens with a lot of these. But that was the crafter. Like I said, we did the farmer already, so there should be a video up already on YouTube for the farmer as well as the town charter. We have 3 more characters to go. So 2 from the main box, 1 from the expansion, and then some other really quick pages for the like mini expansion stuff, and then the friends and family expansion, which introduces some new elements. So tune back in, join me for that. We're going to be diving into the Ranger next, so watch out for that video to go up. Another rulebook rundown will teach you how to play as the Ranger. So things are starting to get a little bit more complicated with the Ranger and the Merchant next. The books are a little bit thicker, which could be a little bit more fun. But thank you for joining me here at Bald and Board Games as I gave you the rulebook rundown for the Crafter in Mythwind. All right, I will see you in the valley.